Hello.
Hey.
We just had like a really big conversation, and I feel like we should have recorded at least part of it to have banter in the beginning of this episode. But now I don't know what we're going to talk about.
We could talk about how I am now almost halfway through Fire Academy.
Hey, there it is. Bow, 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 bow. And how I have 6 more weeks of school. I feel like a damn groundhog. I'm like, 6 more weeks.
I know. I have 5 more weeks of academy. You have 6 more weeks of school. So normally we do our lectures remotely on Mondays. This appears to be a holdover from like COVID, even though I think almost all of us in the class are vaccinated now. They still just have us do our online lectures remotely on Mondays. So some departments have their guys come in to the station and do them there, like in a conference room, which sounds bogus. And my department, fortunately, like literally lets me do it from home. So I'm just in my pajamas on Mondays learning about how to break down a door and shit. But we were told at the beginning of class that there would be 3 Mondays, week 1, week 5, and week 9, where we would have to be there. Week 1, it's because it was the first day of academy. Week 9, it's because we have practical exams. It's the last week of academy. And week 5, because we have FSVO, which I'm pretty sure stands for Fire Service Vehicle Operation, because they're basically like, if you already can operate a fire truck, you don't have to come in on that day, and I obviously cannot. So I was like, man, I have to get up early on a Monday. Like, I'm getting up at 10 to 6, and it fucking sucks. I'm like, and I have to do this one of these Mondays, but at least I'm going to, as Jack put it, learn how to drive the wee-woo truck. He's like, are they going to teach you how to drive the wee-woo truck? I was like, I think so. There's a whole day for it. And so we got an email from our lead instructor about FSVO day. And I was like, And he's like, so we're going to do our morning routine. I was like, He's like, and then we're going to have 4 to 5 hours of lectures. And then I'm going to release you early so you can go work on your projects. And I'm like,
What projects?
oh, we have to do a presentation about a historic fire that like we learned a lot from.
Oh, you're going to kill that. You're going to crush it.
Yeah. So I'm like, wait. When in the 4 to 5 hours of lectures am I going to drive the wee-woo truck? I'm starting to suspect that they're not going to let me drive the wee-woo truck at all. In fact, they're going to tell me how to drive the wee-woo truck for 4 to 5 hours on a Monday morning instead.
Oh no, it's like Driver's Ed. Do you remember those atrocious videos in Driver's Ed? And it was like, why am I here? I should be just learning like how to do it like hands-on.
I took summer Driver's Ed and it was a hot mess. So we would have like...
Literally hot.
We would have an hour or 2 of lecture. I think... this was so stupid. I don't know how I did this. So I took summer gym because it was easier than regular gym. And I took summer driver's ed because that was the earliest like quarter of the school year that I was eligible to take it. And so we would have like practical from 6 to 7 and then classroom from 7 to 9 a.m. And then gym was like 9 to 11. And the practical was either actually driving around or using a simulator, which is weird. It was like I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it was just like a simulated little like cabin of a car that you sat in, and they would play a video on this screen, and the little simulator that you sat in would record your reactions to what was happening on the screen, and then you would get graded based on like how you reacted to this like simulated driving experience. And at the end of the sim, the instructor would read out our scores to us. And I always had the lowest score, and it was fucking embarrassing because I'm like, I'm not a bad driver. I do fine when we're actually driving on the road. I was like, also, I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. Like, I can't figure out how I'm getting the lowest score in the class because there's no, like, visual feedback. Like, I'm just turning the wheel in response to this video and stuff, and then somehow I end up with the lowest score. And then one day, I don't know what, I was, like, uncomfortable or itchy or something, and I shifted in my seat in the simulator, and I sat up higher than usual, and I realized that there was, like, a whole little, like, strip of indicator lights at the top of the simulator that everybody who was taller than me could see, and I couldn't see unless I sat up like super straight or like put my foot under my butt. And then after I noticed that, yeah, it would give you a little warning light if you were turning the wheel too far or whatever. And then I started getting good scores, and I was like, are you shitting me?
So you just need to put a phone book down and sit on it?
Yes. Driver's ed was such clown school shit. I also had to do, so you have to do like driving hours, but you also had to have like however many driving hours you had to have twice as many observation hours. Yeah. But my like partner for the driving hours, she had started like early somehow because she had like an au pair job in Florida she was going to later that summer.
Okay.
So by the time we started, she already had all her driving hours in, and she just needed her observation hours, which meant that I drove around the whole time and I never got any observation hours. So I would have to stay after class and get in someone else's car, like someone who had a different practical time than me, and just sit around in the back seat and watch them drive, which was Stupid as hell. So it'd be like, I also feel bad for the instructors because these were not like, they were not like dedicated driving instructors. Like they also taught in other departments. So like the computer science teacher and like 5 teenagers are crammed into like a Honda Civic, you know, we're fucking driving around nowhere, Wisconsin. The funniest time was this girl, Cecily Potter, was driving or was it Patrice? Yes, Patrice was driving. And we were driving on this service road next to the highway, and there was some kind of creature. It looked like vaguely some sort of mustelid, some sort of riverine mammal of some kind is standing in the middle of the road. And Patrice pulls to a stop, and she turns to the teacher. Oh, what was his name? Oh, he was related to like a famous general or something. I should remember what his name was. Fuck. I don't remember. MacArthur. Mr. MacArthur. That's what it was. She turns to Mr. MacArthur and she's like, what do I do? And Mr. MacArthur is like, honk the horn at it. So Patrice is like, beep, beep. And this creature just turns to look at us like, hello, beep, beep. I am a riverine mammal of some sort. How are you? You know, and it doesn't budge.
Hello, beep, beep car. You should have seen the wee-woo truck that came through these parts not too long ago.
And she's like, now what? And Mr. MacArthur is like, roll forward just a little bit. That should scare it off. So we roll forward a little bit. And this creature is still like, hello. And he's like, try honking the horn again. Beep, beep. Hello again, beep, beep. It's nice chatting with you. He's like, roll forward a little more. And this creature doesn't move. And Cecily Potter, who's in the back seat with me, is like, oh my God, it's so cute. I'm going to help it get across the street. And she jumps out of the back seat.
And she was never seen or heard from ever
and starts
again.
going towards this. It's a very small, like, stoat-like creature. But she gets out of the back seat and it braces itself for, you know, it does that thing where it puts its like front feet in front of it like it's going to spring on you and it goes like, and Cecily's like,
I wish you could see her face.
and she like sprints to the car and Patrice is beeping the horn trying to scare this thing away so it doesn't rip Cecily's throat out. We all get back in the car and drive away.
I am deceased at that face. I wish all of you could see it. I can't even explain it. Oh, man. Oh, God, now I'm crying because I was laughing so hard.
I don't know what the fuck that was, but yeah, that was that driver's ed clown school shit. How do we get on this topic? Oh, they're not letting me drive the wee-woo truck, and I'm upset about it. That's what's happening.
You know, speaking of creatures.
This is our cryptids episode. I saw in the episode schedule Cryptids Part 3, and I was like, when did Cryptids Part 2 happen? Was I drunk? And then I remember that we did Christmas Cryptids. Abby's like, oh, yeah, that's why. I was totally counting. Anywho, do you want to do the intro?
No, I was like, Part 2 was,
Christmas.
you know, Feliz Navidad. Part 1 was with Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in Part 3. See?
All right, well, someone can count to 3. I can't count to 3 or drive the wee-woo truck.
I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's the Let the Bodies Hit the Floor song.
Oh.
But, like, the fucking parody of it.
Okay.
All right. Well, someone out there knows what I'm talking about, and we should be best friends if you're, like, listening to this and you're like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what she's talking about. Don't worry. I've, like, written some jokes here for our opening bit that I know you're not going to get. But if someone does, you should message me and I'll just replace you.
Rude. I cannot believe this.
Obviously, I'm kidding. Where am I? Okay, so...
Just in case, she's going to find a fucking horse's severed head in her bed in the morning.
You know that we both know too much shit about each other for me to be like, nah, I'm good now, fam.
Absolutely. There's like a kill switch that if anything happens to me, the gremlin picture will be released immediately.
A kill switch? Oh, man. None of you know what the gremlin picture is. It doesn't matter.
It's so fucking funny.
It's me... I'm trying to make this really, like, 15 seconds of short. There's a picture of me fishing, and I'm 9, so you can imagine my aesthetic. I believe I'm wearing a t-shirt I got for free and boys' cargo shorts. And maybe a hat?
I think you're probably wearing a hat.
I'm wearing, like, Walmart Vans, because I always wanted Vans, but my mom was like, those are too expensive and you're still growing. We're not spending that much money on shoes. Take your $8 Walmart shoes that small children have made and not been paid for and be sad. And I was like, okay, Mom.
And she's doing like the tween slouch, but also smile for the camera thing.
Oh no, and then the lighting is just bad. Like I'm kind of like standing near a tree's shadow, so like half of my face is lit up and the other half I look like a gremlin, and we call it the gremlin.
And they're
picture.
very like late 90s, early 2000s glasses. Honestly.
Oh, yeah, they're like hair. I look like someone walked up to me and said, "You're a wizard, Harry." That's what I look like. So
it's kind of some cryptid shit.
It is. Maybe I'll post that to the Patreon.
Yes, you have to pay us $500 for the gremlin picture.
Listen. All right, so let's do it.
And I'm Ellie.
And this is the Queers for Fears podcast. The podcast where two queer women talk about what scares them about the world, whether it's based in reality or in the paranormal. And today's episode, as we already said, is Creepy Cryptids Part 3, baby! So, before we jump in, I have some business, some announcements to take care of. I feel so much like a teacher because I've started doing announcements in business at the start of all my classes now, and I'm like very into doing this at the top of the program. So I'm gonna issue a special shout out and thank you to our newest Patronodon. Yeah. So Annie, oh boy, I'm so sorry, Annie. I'm gonna pronounce this incorrectly. Annie Sturtwagen. I pronounced that with a German accent. Don't know why. It looks German to me.
Oh,
then it would be
German?
Sturtwagen, wouldn't it?
I don't...
Sturtwagen.
Bro, you're the German.
W. It's a W, so it would be a V. that much I know. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Yes, you are, because you're one of our Patreon supporters.
Oh, God.
This is what Annie signed up for. I'm not sure if Annie's pronounced, so I'm just going to use the name here. So, anyway... thank you so much, Annie, and make sure that you tell us what spooky location you want us to discuss on a future Patreon episode. And if you're interested in a free, well, not free, I guess you already paid for it. If you're interested in a sticker,
included sticker,
message us, on the internet somewhere, and let us know your address so we can send that to you. Thank you so much.
We won't sign you up for weird catalogs or anything.
Do you want to say anything to Annie?
Thank you. I don't know. I just learned about you, but you sound pretty cool.
Obviously, great taste in podcasts.
Thank you for subscribing to our Patreon. That's really exciting.
We appreciate you so much. And now we're at 9.
Hey.
Out of my goal of 15 Patronodons. 6 of you listening, I know, have at least $1 you can give to us every month. Come on, people. $1. One. Singular sensation. Sorry. Literally, the cost of a sweet tea at McDonald's, you can become a Patreon supporter.
This is a lot more aggressive than the fundraising drives from PBS when I was a kid.
Bitch, do I look like PBS?
That was the bane of my existence. I'm like, I just want to watch the big comfy couch.
Oh my gosh, I never, and like every time it happened, my parents had to explain to me what was happening because I just could not comprehend why these people were asking me for money when all I wanted to do was watch their show. I was just like, didn't we already pay for this? Like when you pay the TV bill?
I'm sure those fundraising ads only ran for like 15 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours when you're a child and you just want to watch fucking Sesame Street or whatever.
Okay, so a couple more shout outs. Ellie's like, when are we going to talk about fucking cryptids? Eventually.
I'm still that same person who does not want to hear about the fundraising on PBS.
Our latest reviews are from KK Murphy and Big Dingus 12.
It's like 500 times funnier because you fucking stumbled over it. Thank you for that.
We appreciate your kind words and your 5-star ratings. All of you should give us a 5-star review with words. I heard it in gas. I know last episode I was like, with words, you lazy fucks.
Abby's having a tough school year.
I really am.
She's really
Please.
taking it personally when people don't follow directions.
I am taking it personally, and I'm very sorry about that. But also, give us a fucking 5-star review with words. Anyway, I'm trying to get us to 25 reviews, and we're at 23. So we just need a couple more people to actually give us some words on Apple iTunes. I don't know why it helps the algorithm, but it helps the algorithm. So thank you so much in advance for your support. Make sure you also follow us wherever you get your podcasts. That helps as well. And finally, I'm so excited. We have merch.
She says wearing the merch.
Yeah. Got some merch. Looking for some podcast merch. Looking for some podcast merch. Elliot's never seen Hamilton and is looking at me like I have 4 heads. So somewhere out there, someone was like, oh my god, a Hamilton reference. So, that was for you. Thank you. But anyway, she doesn't know about Alexander Hamilton.
Stop.
What? You're in the room where it happens. Why are you so upset with me?
I already know about Alexander Hamilton. I don't need a whole musical about him.
It's a good musical. Anyway, it's a good musical. Thank you, Kevin K, for hooking us up with our new t-shirts.
Yes.
They look amazing. I'm wearing mine right now because we did a little photo shoot earlier so that I can post it to the social media so all of you can see what it looks like on a person.
We did not take a picture of me in the shirt because I look like roadkill. Because I'm going to Academy every day.
Cute roadkill. Like the kind of roadkill that you honk at that you're hoping will get out of the way. So I wanted to tell you that, you can dress them up and make them super gay if you want. If you're, looking at that barista at Starbucks, you want them to know that, hey, you're part of the Alphabet Mafia. You can dress it up with a flannel.
We're friends of Dorothy. We're family.
Flannel, maybe cuff the sleeves, maybe some ripped jeans, maybe some Doc Martens, leather jacket. Maybe my go-to to let people know that I am gay is the snapback.
Trim my fingernails. Oh, that too. There was we finally had a woman instructor for the first time at Academy. God. And I got some vibes from her, and so obviously for Academy, they're grooming standards, and one of them is short nails, otherwise you're going to break your nail on a sledgehammer or some fucking shit like that.
Sure.
And I was like, she has a wedding ring. Do I ask her about her spouse and see where this goes? And I really had to not laugh because she's showing me how to take apart a chainsaw. And the line that popped into my head is, so, did you have short fingernails before you became a firefighter? And I'm like, I absolutely cannot say that. No matter what the answer is, it's going to be weird.
Everyone flirt better than Allie when you wear this t-shirt. Thank you so much. Anyway.
I would not flirt with an instructor anyways.
So you're...
Hey, Lieutenant, I know you have a wedding ring on, but, no,
anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. If you are like me or Ellie... And sometimes you want to say, I like women by your fashion. Those are my styling tips. Follow me for more.
And not me, definitely.
Maybe your slip-on Vans. That's another one I do. You can
Do you got the real Vans now or the Walmart Vans still?
Do the weird. I am a strong, independent woman who can afford her own Vans.
Hey.
You can do the little eyebrow slit.
I'm still wearing my Target Converse. Oh, yeah. She's just doing this finger gesture at her eyebrow. Yes, I know.
Anyway. Undercut. I don't know. There's so many ways to style these t-shirts because they're black with a white logo. So they go with basically anything. And you can find them on our Etsy shop. It's etsy.com/shop/queersforfearspod, POD. And the link is also in the show notes. The price on there includes shipping and handling, so you are paying one flat rate to get your t-shirt. Toot toot. Toot toot. Okay, that's it for me. That's all the stuff that I needed to say. 20 minutes later.
All right, time to talk about cryptids.
Yes.
All right.
How do you want to do this?
I'll do mine and then you do yours.
All right.
Keep it simple. All right. So I'm doing 2 kind of categories of cryptids.
She's doing a phylum.
One is... Shut up.
Did I use that right?
Yeah.
Or is Kingdom, phylum, species?
No.
I missed one.
Oh god. They're gonna take away my anthropology degree.
They're gonna march right in.
Family, group?
Maybe it's family.
Alright. Anywho. British big cats. So for such a small nation, the UK has a lot of incidences of, like, large, mysterious cats.
I'm dumb and didn't even realize that they probably live there.
Well, so I looked it up. So my source for this was mostly this BBC article about all these mystery cats. So the only cat native to the British Isles is the Scottish wildcat, which looks kind of like a regular cat, but big and grumpy, which I really respect as an aesthetic.
Same.
But there have been several incidents of like a really large, like abnormally large, like beast of whatever, like British town that it's from type cat. So the very first one was in 1825. This farmer/journalist, what a job title, named William Cobbett saw a big gray cat on the grounds of an abbey. Now, he described this cat as being about the size of a, quote, medium-sized spaniel.
Ellie, you know what we would call that job title, though? Pharmacist.
What? All right. Anyway, that doesn't sound like a very big cat. She's still
With
grinning
an F.
with herself. No, that's
For
not that
farmer.
funny. Okay. So, but a medium-sized spaniel is not very big. Like, that sounds like it could have been a Maine Coon.
15, maybe 13, 15 pounds.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not... I guess, I don't know. Maybe that was news in 1825, but, like, I saw a largish cat is, like, not...
Everyone was smaller in 1825. They weren't eating anything.
But from 1955 to 1960, several people around Surrey and Hampshire spotted a, quote, puma-like, or, quote, lion, or, quote, enormous great cat in the area. Which, enormous great cat just sounds like such a, I don't know. Oh, an enormous great cat. It just sounds like something, no American would say an enormous great cat. You'd say an enormous cat or a great big cat, but enormous great cat is just so, I don't know.
Tell me you're British without telling me you're British.
Yeah. So the police apparently investigated this cat and turned up nothing, but it became known as the Surrey Puma, which I'm sure they pronounce Puma because they're fucked up. Just like how on,
Is that a thing?
on Top Gear they were always saying weird shit like Jaguar. Like, I don't know. Maybe the British are obsessed with giant cats because they, like, say it weird and they just love to hear themselves talk. I don't know what's going on.
All right, well.
In the 1970s and 80s, there was also a big black cat spotted multiple times in Exmoor, and the Royal Marines were called in this time in the summer of 1983 in response to multiple sheep killings allegedly by this cat. Which, so I also had
The
to...
few, the proud.
the Royal Marines.
Yeah, you're real special there helping with a cat that may or may not exist. All right.
And may or may not have killed a sheep.
Go off. Sorry, I have opinions about Marines. It's fine.
So I also had to lean on Wikipedia for some of this because a lot of it is just like urban legend type stuff, and so there's not a lot of great sources for it.
Yeah.
So this I included not because I think it's reliable, because I think it's very funny. So the BBC did corroborate that the Royal Marines got involved with investigating the Beast of Exmoor.
Can you imagine being like, I'm going to be a Marine, and then they're like, okay, so listen,
Hear me out. Big kitty.
and a big, enormous, great cat. Lad. That's what you're doing today. All right.
So according to Wikipedia, this part, I want to know who wrote this into this Wikipedia article. Quote,
It's pronounced Wikipedia. How dare you?
during the search, the Marines' commanding officer was quoted as saying that their quarry behaved with high, almost human intelligence and, quote, always moved with surrounding cover amongst hedges and woods. End quote. Ultimately, the Marines were recalled from the field, after which the attacks on the local sheep allegedly increased. End quote.
Plot twist. It's just a defected Marine.
So, but the Wikipedia article doesn't cite a source for this, and I just love, right, so the BBC is like, yeah, they called in the Marines. So Wikipedia is like, it had human intelligence, and then it got mad that the Marines were there and killed more sheep. Like, I just was quoted as saying, like, that's so vague. I don't know. I just love the one-upsmanship of the Wikipedia article regarding the Royal Marines' involvement in this whole thing. So I tried to find a source for this
Maybe
part
it
of
was
the story.
written by a Marine.
Yeah, who knows? This Marine, like, with a big scar over his eye from where this big cat scratched him. Almost human intelligence. So
Oh man, I could really dunk on Marines right now with that line, but I won't. I'll just keep my mouth shut.
I tried to find a source for this part, and so I was like, I'm Googling, like, Beast of Exmoor, and I'm finding like cryptid.wikia.com and like all these like kind of fan sites. The only official type site I could find about the Beast of Exmoor was the Exmoor Zoo. I was like, oh, maybe they have a zoologist who likes weird cat myths and wrote something up about this. No,
Sure.
it's just a page for their melanistic leopard named Ebony, being like, maybe the Beast of Exmoor is like our melanistic leopard, Ebony. I'm like, I'm not coming to see your melanistic leopard Ebony just because you wrote Beast of Exmoor on her webpage to get more clicks. But she is a very pretty kitty. Thank you for your time, Exmoor Zoo. In the 1990s, a big phantom cat was spotted in and around Bodmin Moor in Cornwall. This was accompanied by more livestock killings and another government investigation, and again, nothing was turned up. The Cornwall Guide, this website, maybe official, probably unofficial guide to Cornwall, claims that shortly thereafter, a boy found a leopard skull by the river, but boringly, that's a direct quote, the Cornwall Guide says, boringly, it had just fallen off of an imported leopard skin rug.
That's gonna really hurt me with that adverb.
I know, I love how they were like, oh yeah, maybe there was a fucking leopard fucking skulking Bodmin Moor. Oh no, boringly it fell off of a rug. And I'm like,
I have a theory about this.
Yeah, what is it?
Okay. So it might be an exotic pet that someone decided they couldn't take care of and was just like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna let you free, wherever I feel like it.
That is the prevailing theory for, like, kind of a lot of these. So there are some... Oh, there's also, like, the Beast of Bookin, the Galloway Puma. There's, like, a bunch of other incidents like these. And some of them have been, like, a lynx, a puma that got out of a zoo. And even more than the ones that are reported by zoos, like, there's going to be even more that, were exotic pets that someone kept, kind of like a sewer gator type situation.
Oh, my God. I watched the... Sorry. Quick tangent. I watched the Cry Wilderness episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 the other day, and no one is surprised that I like Mystery Science Theater 3000, by the way, that's listening to this podcast. They're like, yeah, that tracks. But there is... if you don't know, if you're one of our sweet summer children that listen to this, meaning that you're like 17 to 22... and you don't get any of our pop culture references, Mystery Science Theater 3000 is a show where this guy and some robots, they're in outer space. It doesn't matter why. And the people holding him captive in outer space are trying to torture him, and they're torturing him with terrible movies. And in order to cope with this torturing, he and his robot friends just like riff the entire movie and make fun of it the whole time. And Cry Wilderness is the movie. It's Cry Wilderness, but it's ridiculous because all of the budget went to having animals pop up. Like, in the movie, there's a tiger that escaped from a zoo, and they're obviously in, like, I don't know, fucking the northwest part of the United States or something. But yeah, this tiger just comes up, and I was inebriated the first time I watched this. No one's surprised. Didn't we watch this together? I thought we did. But the first time I watched it, I was inebriated and didn't hear the line about the tiger escaping the zoo. So I was like screaming at the TV, why is there a tiger here? They're not native to this area. And my partner was finally just like, it escaped from the zoo. And I was like, oh.
I don't remember this at all, which doesn't mean I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Just Googling this is very strange.
They just had a Kickstarter that I backed to bring it back for like a dozen more episodes, and I'm stoked. It's so good. It's so funny and ridiculous. I love it. That is my dream job.
What is?
Just riffing on
bad old movies
for bad, terrible movies and getting paid for that. That sounds awesome.
My next category of cryptids... But
I'm a woman, and women aren't funny. It's a known fact.
My next category of cryptids are fearsome critters. So this is like a... Fearsome critters refers specifically to not exactly cryptids. I don't know, kind of tall tales about like wild critters that don't exist, that were often passed amongst like cowboys or loggers.
Okay.
or, other people kind of living in the wilderness themselves. So
when I hear critter, I think of like a smaller...
Some of these were not small
creature?
at all.
No? Oh, okay.
I mean, critter is just kind of like old-timey American vernacular for creature, right? So,
sure.
There is apparently this book called Fearsome Critters, like kind of a compendium of these type of stories by Henry H. Tryon. This I got from Wikipedia. It's published in 1939. So the way he explains what a fearsome critter is and how their stories would get around, quote, Sam would lead with a colorful bit of description, and Walter would follow suit with an arresting spot of personal experience, every detail being set forth with the utmost solemnity and with exactly the correct degree of emphasis. At the end, so deftly had the cards been played that the listener was completely convinced of the animal's existence. This method of presentation is widely used. For the best results, 2 narrators who can keep the ball in the air are necessary, and perhaps an occasional general question...
That's definitely us. 2 narrators that can keep the ball in the air.
And perhaps an occasional general question is tossed to someone in the audience, such inquiries being invariably accorded a grave, corroborative nod. So it's like snipe hunt type shit. If you've ever... Like, I remember when I went to a family reunion in Arkansas when I was a kid, one of my relatives tried to send me on a snipe hunt. Be like, oh yeah, there's this critter and, we hunted and it's good for this and that and this is what it looks like and here's all the stupid shit that you have to do to get the snipe to come to you. It's kind of like something that you'd like do like light hazing at a Boy Scout camp or something with, send someone out and be like, oh yeah, you have to like sing a dumb song and then pop a paper bag and then this animal will come to you.
Or if you're a grown, curmudgeonly old man who's been widowed and now has to befriend this Boy Scout because your house floated away and he was actually hiding in it.
Such a good movie. So yeah, it's kind of like a snipe hunt or like drop bears. Have you ever heard of the drop bear thing?
No.
It's this amazing prank that Australians pull on absolutely everybody else, where they claim that there is like a dangerous carnivorous version of a koala called a drop bear that'll just drop out of the trees and like rip your throat out.
Australians, is this something you do to people?
Allegedly, yeah. It's like...
We have Australian listeners. Please let us know.
Yeah, because like tourists will be like, oh yeah, but there's all these like big snakes and spiders and stuff you have. And then the Australians will be like, oh, well, you shouldn't worry about them. You should worry about the drop bears. And yeah, there's apparently even a video, I have to watch it, of this like British journalist being handed a koala at like a sanctuary, but being told that it's a dangerous drop bear. And she's just like, obviously from her face, you can see she's like shitting bricks the whole time.
I mean, koalas will fuck you up.
They will,
pretty
but
territorial.
Yeah, but there's this like drop bear thing that Australians pull on other people. They even once asked, like in an interview, someone once asked Chris Hemsworth how to avoid getting attacked by a drop bear, and he just said, bring an umbrella. Because, right, they, like, drop out of the trees and get you or whatever.
That's really funny.
There was apparently, like, not like a koala exactly, but, like, a big, like, dangerous... I don't know if it was a marsupial or what, but there was this prehistoric creature called Thylacoleo carnifex that may be represented in some Aboriginal cave art. That some people are like, oh, that's where the drop bear thing came from. And I'm like, I think Australians are just fucking with people, but whatever. But I thought this fearsome critter thing was interesting. You tell, like, the new guy in the camp about this, like, creepy creature that's in the forest and, like, what it's going to do and how it's going to fuck with you. Because all of them are just preposterous, conceptually, these fearsome critters. Mm-hmm. But I like this because it's kind of like, I mean, to this day, logging is, like, the most dangerous job. When I was telling my mom I wanted to become a firefighter, when I was telling Jack, they're like, isn't this dangerous? I'm like, I mean, there are a lot of jobs that are more dangerous. Working on an oil rig, roofing, and number one, still, hundreds of years later, we're still chopping down trees like goddamn maniacs, and it's the most dangerous job. And so I kind of like this idea of these stories about these ridiculous creatures, because they kind of seem to be a bit of whistling in the dark. Because some of these stories serve to jokingly explain phenomena as minor as an unattended axe handle going missing, to something creepy like an unexplained noise in the forest, to loggers disappearing in the woods. So, I don't know. I would love to see some more research, like folkloric research on like the role that these stories played in like the social cohesion of these people doing this very dangerous job, like very far from anyone that they knew or loved, like kind of on the fringes of civilization as they knew it. So these stories were also bolstered by props like taxidermy or prank photos. So, like, remember we talked about the hodag on the last one? Mm-hmm. There's obviously, like, a fake hodag that someone had made, and they, like, staged this photo in the woods with this fake hodag, so it looks like it's attacking someone. So, yeah, this is also around the dawn of photography, and, people are kind of messing with each other, taking these prank photos and stuff. Also, the itinerant nature of logging work kind of helped spread these stories from camp to camp. And some of them may have also been partly inspired by real creatures. So a couple of my favorites, the axe handle hound, which kind of looks like a dachshund, but it's vaguely axe-shaped. So it has kind of a hatchet-shaped face and like a long body reminiscent of an axe handle and stubby little legs. So the drawings of the axe handle hound really do just look like a poorly drawn dachshund. And they allegedly sneak into logging camps at night and eat axe handles.
Oh.
There's also this online project of like logging folklore called Lumberwoods, and their website includes a story of a logger with a wooden leg foolishly attempting to keep an axe handle hound as a pet. And of course, the axe handle hound wants to eat his leg, so he has to feed it lots of axe handles so it doesn't eat his leg. The axe handle hound is said to frequent the woods of Minnesota and Wisconsin, and there's even a campground in Minnesota on the Little Fork River named after the axe handle hound. The hide behind I also like. So in Fearsome Critters, it resembles something between a bear and a weasel, if you're looking at the illustration. But it's apparently very big and strong. It snatches up lumberjacks and anyone else wandering around the woods, and drags them back to its lair and eats them. But it's apparently quick enough to hide behind a tree or another object so as to never be observed. It mostly eats the intestines of its prey, but it hates alcohol. So again, we're kind of whistling in the dark, like, maybe there's a drinking problem in logging culture, like there are in a lot of professions. And so the joke is like, oh yeah, haha, if you're pickled enough, the hide behind won't get you. But, like, this is a story that they're telling to, like, cope with the fact that, like, loggers disappear. And people disappear in the woods, and the woods are a really creepy place. So yeah, like, the Wikipedia article is like, oh yeah, the hide behind story may have explained strange noises in the forest, but I think it explains something a lot creepier and a lot more primal than that. I feel like it addresses, like, the fear of being watched. And specifically the fear of being watched and not being able to see what's watching you.
Ew.
Which is a phenomenon that a lot of people feel in the forest, because it's so...
I thought you said feel in the forest, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of what the forest is. You said forest.
Because the forest is so teeming with life, and there is definitely something watching you.
Yeah.
But you can't, right? I don't know. I just like that, because it taps into a very lizard brain fear of being watched and not seeing what's watching you. Kind of like Predator, Like, you're in this, like, dense natural environment, and you're being watched and maybe being predated upon, but you can't see what the predator is. The hide behind appears in the Harry Potter universe and in Gravity Falls, and I also watched this really great 10-minute short horror film from 2018 just called The Hide Behind. And it's super, super creepy. I literally it's on YouTube, and I kept, like, moving my mouse so I could see, like, the timestamp, like, the bar on the bottom to see how much longer was left in this film, because it was, like, stressing me out. I'm like, how much longer am I going to subject myself to this? Because it's only 10 minutes, but I'm 7 minutes in, and I'm, like, stressed out about how scary this is.
We should put that in the show notes, too, so everyone else can experience that.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It also reminded me of one of the, like, famous creepypastas, Anansi's Goatman story. And that reminds me, I want to watch this movie with you. It's called Headcount. It seems to be basically based on this Goatman story creepypasta. But the premise is these people all go camping, and
first mistake.
This weird presence keeps stalking them, and it'll appear in the form of, like, a person just kind of, like, staring from the edge of the campsite, or, like, walking backwards weirdly and just, like, doing creepy shit.
Like moonwalking.
Yeah, sometimes it's, like, kind of silly, but it's unnerving because it's this random person doing something silly and creepy in the middle of the forest.
Oh, Jesus. Fuck.
See, my radiator went off and she jumped. And eventually this thing, like, infiltrates the camp. Like, they'll be like, so we're all, like, in our campsite, like, shitting bricks, all 9 of us. And then in the morning we remembered that there were only 8 of us the night before. Like, shit like that. Like, this thing, like, imitates human speech and, like, infiltrates groups of people by counting on you not noticing that there's one more person than there's supposed to be. I don't know why, but that is, like, one of my all-time, like, creepiest favorite creepypasta. I'll probably fucking read it again after we're done recording.
Yeah, terrifying.
But that's kind of what the hide behind reminded me of, is just, like, this, I don't know, almost, I don't know, I'm going out on a tangent here, but it also reminds me of Lovecraft a little bit, like, just this fear that, like, you are in this kind of, like, untamed natural environment, and there is something bigger than you, something, like, you're not at the top of the food chain anymore out here. And I think that's what the hide behind taps into, and that's why I really like it. And that's why I think it has enjoyed so many pop culture references, including this really good short horror film. Some other less creepy fearsome critters that I also like. The cactus cat is a desert fearsome critter, a bobcat-like critter covered in spikes like a cactus. It would allegedly slash open cacti and drink the fermented cactus juice. Quote, the then drunken creature was said to shriek throughout the night, end quote.
That was me.
Same, yeah.
That's how I would be after I got hammered too.
Yeah, drinking
desert shit.
Drinking desert plant-based spirits and then shrieking all night. Sounds like the time I had too much tequila and missed my flight home from Spain, but whatever. And then they sleep during the day inside a cactus. Also same. Also, apparently, the female cactus cats fight to the death to mate with the male cactus cat. And I wrote in my notes, in your dreams, whatever horny cowboy came up with this idea.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead. That's a lie. Yes, I do. It was John Wayne. John Wayne did that.
Oh, I absolutely want to speak ill of John Wayne.
Yeah, we can just talk shit about him for a whole ass episode. Yeah.
There's also the squonk, and I didn't do too much research into the squonk because the one line from the Fearsome Critters Wikipedia page linking to the squonk page is perfect. Squonk, quote, squonk, an animal, due to its deformed countenance, cries constantly and will even dissolve into tears if seen. Also very same.
Oh my god, that is me this entire pandemic.
Apparently the squonk is covered in warts and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's not super relatable. And then I remember that weird seborrheic keratosis I had on my head.
You literally talked about it on the show.
Yeah, yep. TLDR, M squonk.
I thought you were going to say that you clicked on the one link and it didn't work. And I was like, oh, did you say squonk, squonk?
And last but not least, the jackalope. Which I used to think was so cute. It's a jackrabbit with antelope horns. A popular subject of hoax taxidermy. Like, I've definitely seen, like, a taxidermy jackalope, like, in a curiosity shop. You know, probably fucking around the corner at Woolly Mammoth or something. Jackalopes are apparently very, very dangerous and like whiskey. Also relatable. Horned rabbits have appeared sporadically in natural history literature and mythology. Like, the Wolpertinger, for example, which is a Bavarian, like, horned rabbit thing, maybe with wings and stuff. So horned rabbits have appeared in literature and mythology for hundreds of years, and they might be inspired by real-life lagomorphs, rabbits, and hares infected with a form of papillomavirus that causes horn-like growths on the infected animal. And it looks really fucking creepy if you look it up.
Yeah, that sounds... Wow, yep.
No. So I no longer think jackalopes are cute because they have creepy tumors growing out of their heads, and that's upsetting.
What if I had creepy tumors growing out of my head?
I would still love you if you had creepy tumors growing out of your heads, but I would encourage you to get them looked at.
Okay, that's fair.
Fair. And those are my cryptids.
Hell yeah. All right, well, let's do sponsors, and then we'll do my cryptids.
Hell yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by the electronic toothbrush Brush. Brush is an electric... What are you laughing at? That's what it's called.
Brush?
It's B-R-U-U-S-H, and the first U has an umlaut over it. It's pronounced Brush.
Okay.
This podcast is brought to you by the electronic toothbrush Brush. Brush is an electric toothbrush that will change the way that you think about brushing. I almost said about brushing your teeth. About brushing your teeth with powerful sonic technology and ultra gentle bristles. The Brush redefines what it means to have... I can't stop laughing because you're laughing. To have super clean teeth. It's like that feeling when you get when you just left the dentist, a fresh, whole mouth clean every single day. Our listeners get 15% off their total purchase with code POD15. Follow the link in the show notes and enter the code POD15, that's POD15, to get your exclusive discount and upgrade your oral care routine. Anyway, our second supporter of the show is, well, us! We do have a Patreon and appreciate your support. We have lots of tiers for different budgets at the $1, $3, $5, or $10 level. Here's what you get. So all the Queerdos or our $1 $1 a month tier get a bonus episode every month and an exclusive sticker of our logo. The next level is the Here for the Fears, aka our $3 tier, which gives you 2 bonus episodes a month and a shout out on the show, a sticker as well. And you get to request a spooky location episode in which we will discuss the city or state or even country of your choice. The next level is called Loud and Queer, and it is our $5 tier, and it comes with everything we've already mentioned, plus a monthly bonus video of us doing silly things. The one that we uploaded for April was we did like a newlywed game show, but it was friends because we're not married. And I think the next one is going to be the blindfolded makeup challenge.
Oh, God.
So,
whenever I do makeup, it looks like someone put it on while blindfolded.
well, you were going to be the model for that.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was going to be
I'm going to look like the album art for Applause. I'm excited.
You're gonna look like something. And finally, our $10 tier, aka the True Crime Buff tier, gives you everything we've already mentioned, as well as a discount on our merch and and ad-free episodes. You'll also get a personalized thank you from us, and at this level, you also get to submit an episode topic for us to do on a regular episode of QFF. If any of this bonus material sounds interesting to you, or if you just want to support 2 by creators, check out our Patreon on patreon.com/QueersForFearsPodcast. Or if you're like me for most of my adult life and have commitment issues, you can also make a one-time donation for us on our website using PayPal. Our link to our website will be in the show notes. Spoiler alert, it's queersforfears.com. Anyway, here's my cryptids.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So I took a different approach to this, and I did 3 specific cryptids. And so I am going to start with the one that I have the least amount of information on, and then go to the one that I have the most information on. So my first one is the Lake Worth monster. And it is said, as you could probably tell, to inhabit Lake Worth at the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge just outside of Fort Worth, Texas. And it's often described as part man and part goat with scales. Yeah. And long fingers with very long claws. Reported sightings of local citizens of a half-man, half-goat with fur and scales started probably in July of 1969. So there are, of course, conflicting reports of all this because eyewitness testimony is shit. But there's sort of like this Lover's Lane situation called Greer Island at this park, and people would go and do wholesome activities like stare lovingly into each other's eyes. And so this happened in like July 9th of 1969, and apparently this creature approached these cars, jumped up on one of the cars on the hood, tried to grab a woman out of the car, but the car drove away. And so, of course, all these eyewitnesses in their cars, like, got the hell out of there, told people about it. And so, in typical Texan fashion, the next day, everyone showed up to see this monster with their guns to shoot it. And so, so supposedly during this sort of, like, meeting of people with their guns, this monster got a tire. Not entirely sure where he got it from, but he hurled this tire at the crowd from like 500 feet away. So he has superhuman strength as well,
I guess.
And there's a interesting theory because once school started back up again, right? Like this happened during the summer. And so once school started back up again, reported sightings of the monster like disappeared entirely. So people were thinking that it was just a bunch of students that were, you know, up to no good, looking to get into mischief. So who knows? But one report says one police dispatcher told the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, it's a newspaper, "We've had reports of this thing for about 2 months, but we've always laughed them off as pranks. But an 18-inch gash in the car's side and the terrified nature of the witnesses led police to an open, full investigation. It appeared in the newspapers the next day, and the area was immediately caught in monster fever." That is regarding that 1969 attack. Also in 2005, a reporter at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram received an anonymous letter from someone claiming to be one of 3 high school classmates who, in the summer of 69,
I was like, when are we gonna make that joke?
Decided to go. I mean, any summer is the summer of 69 if you try hard enough. Decided to go out to Lake Worth and scare people using a tinfoil mask. I don't know how. Maybe that would look scaly, I guess, if you... I don't know. I don't know. In 2009, Fort Worth, Texas Magazine published a report about an unidentified man who said that he had been a perpetrator of the tire-throwing incident. Cryptozoologist, blogger Craig Woolheater. I love, really, when we... See, in the true crime community... I like dig up sources, and then for these cryptid episodes, I'm like really scraping like the bottom of the barrel to be like, no, but tell me about this damn cryptid. But the cryptozoologist Craig Woolheater said he believes the Lake Worth monster is an undiscovered, uncat-like primate species that walks on 2 legs. How do you explain the scales then, Craig? And since 2009, which was the 40th anniversary of the sightings, the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge has held a Lake Worth Monster Bash each October. And in 2019, when they celebrated the 50-year, whatever the hell, celebration
Monster
or whatever,
Bash.
I actually...
a Lakeshore Smash.
Boo.
Boo.
So I actually listened to the H2OMG podcast, which is like the water reclamation center in Fort Worth. But they did a 3-parter episode on the Lake Worth Monster, and it was really interesting. And there were some dramatic readings of this now out of print book from 1969 by Sally Ann Clark, I think is her name. And I tried to find a book, but they're going on Amazon and eBay for like over $100 because they're out of print and people want them for their cryptozoology collections, I guess. But
this is like the time I tried to get that book about the zealotrous Russian hermits.
Yes. And so if you're interested in that, I recommend checking out their podcast because they do read excerpts from that book. I could not like type fast enough to keep up with what they said, but it was a very interesting, it's like a 12-minute episode and they're just reading excerpts from this book, and it was very interesting. So that is the Lake Worth Monster. And my next cryptid is the Ozark Howler. So the Ozark Howler, aka the Ozark Black Howler, aka the Nightshade Bear, aka the Devil Cat, aka the Hoo-Hoo. The Hoo-Hoo, that's not scary.
Is the cat
That's what I call my vagina!
That's a hoo-ha. This is like an off-brand
How
vagina.
dare you? Maybe my vagina is the hoo-hoo. Ma'am, it's my vagina. I can call it whatever I fucking want.
Sounds like an off-brand vagina. This is like the
That's how I feel about this vagina.
Some days I'm like, this was made by a very shady manufacturer. No, this is like, so Jack was really mad.
Why are the lips uneven? I don't understand.
Jack was really mad that he was trying to buy, so he went home to Ohio and he was trying to make something with tuna. And there's this particular brand of tuna that comes in a yellow and blue can, I guess, that he wanted to buy. And he saw that they had like a lemon pepper flavor and he was like, oh, that sounds nice. So he took it home and he says he opened up the can and it looked, these are his words, it looked like cat food. He was like, for a second I was like, did I accidentally buy cat food out of the canned food aisle? And he looked at it and it was in fact a vegan tuna alternative called Tuno.
I was like, where is this going?
That he had accidentally bought. Hoo made me think of this. What a weird sentence. Very sorry I said
My
that.
generic brand vagina is a hoo-hoo. Thank you.
Yes, so he accidentally bought this.
I mean,
knockoff
hoo-hoo is
tuna.
better than me calling my vagina great value.
Or like Up and Up or whatever it is at Walgreens.
Happy belly.
But I just
Roundy.
That's for the fupa. That's the roundy. But I just fucking cracked up at Tuno because can you imagine this branding meeting? Like, hey, what are we gonna call this product?
Not tuna.
It's like
tuna.
Exactly. It's like we made this thing. It's like tuna, but no.
Yeah, it's not
Tuna.
tuna because it's vegan. Why do you need to give your cat vegan cat
But
food?
it's not.
Wait, it's not vegan? I thought you said it was
no,
vegan.
it is vegan, but it's not cat food. Dude. It's people food. It's vegan. What the fuck? No.
My cat and I have been vegan for 7 years.
It's a vegan.
All right, Stacy, shut up.
Tuna alternative for people. Yes, called Tuno because it's tuna, but no. Which just fucking sent me.
I was like, what kind of monster would make their cat vegan? They're predators. What the hell?
No, it just looks like cat food.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
did you try it? Did it taste like cat food? He's like, I did not. I was upset and I threw it away. But I just love that. What are we gonna call? It's like tuna, but no.
Tuno.
Let's call it Tuno. Great. Everybody gets a raise and a bottle of scotch. Meeting adjourned. Just like so fucking stupid.
All right.
Tuno. That's what I'm gonna say whenever something goes wrong, and I'm gonna be like, Tuno.
They're like, all right, we got tuna, bro. What are we going to do? Tuna. Somebody in that meeting was like, what about tunu? And people were like, shut up,
fired.
Stacy. This isn't for your vegan cat, okay? All right.
All right, so tell me about the hoo-hoo, and I don't mean your knockoff vagina.
I was like, I don't feel comfortable sharing that on this podcast. Anyway, it is alleged to live in remote areas in Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. It's typically described as being about bear-sized with, listen to this. This is almost me to a T. You ready? Being bear-sized with a thick body, stocky legs.
She's looking at me like, don't deny I have stocky legs.
A bitch has stocky legs. Black, shaggy hair. All right, well, I don't have black hair. Glowing red eyes and prominent horns. Listen. If I ever got those weird things that a jackalope had, maybe. Its cry is often described as being a combination of a wolf's howl, an elk's bugle, and the laugh of a hyena.
I'm sorry, an elk's bugle. Okay, we're good. I unpaused the recording. Okay, an elk's bugle. Marvin, you can edit this out.
No, don't.
I'm YouTubing elk's
We want our
bugle.
listeners to experience the elk's bugle.
Elk bugle sound. Why is this a minute long?
Maybe he's bugling a lot.
Alright, that's pretty creepy.
That sounds like something dying.
I would shit a brick if I were in the woods and I heard that.
Can you imagine camping and hearing that shit? And then someone looking at you dead in the eyes and being like, that's just an elk. And you would be like, no, it's not.
That is Satan. I've made that noise before, not gonna lie.
That's me when the bulls fuck up.
That's me ugly crying.
All right, I'm going to move on.
Okay.
Are we good with the elk noises?
Yep.
All right.
Then Elk Masterpiece Theater.
You know, they'd have a fucking telethon for Elk Masterpiece Theater. Anyway, cryptozoologists have speculated that this creature might just be a misidentified or unrecognized big cat. Anthropologists and folklorists have speculated that the creature might be a branching off of the dark dog of death found in British folklore. Do you know anything about this?
I have heard of, like, big black dogs as bad omens before.
Yeah, it's essentially a hellhound.
Okay.
And yeah, I had to look it up because I was like, the dark dog of death. What the hell? But yeah, it's glowing red eyes. Dark omen predicting the death of the person that sees it. They're gigantic black dogs. They're kind of ghostly. Sometimes they're missing their heads. Sometimes they speak in human voices.
Wow, no. That's 2 strikes.
Others of these black dogs leap into the sky or appear and disappear suddenly, walking straight into a large tree or a mountain as if it wasn't a solid thing at all.
Strike 3.
Some speculate that the mythological origin of the black dog is found in Fenrir, a monumental wolf, the son of Loki, who was chained by the gods of Asgard, but nonetheless destroyed them in the Titanic Battle of Ragnarok. And others assert that the black dog of death is purely Celtic. Anyway, Celtic?
I always say Celtic. Okay. Celtic is a fucking sports team from...
That's why I said from Boston.
Mm-mm.
Anyway. So I just wanted to give you some perspective on what the hell they mean by comparing it to the dark dog of death. So some biologists who believe in the Ozark Howler assert that it's actually a mountain lion breed who is either mutated into a new subspecies or is a hybrid of a mountain lion and an unknown creature. Other guesses, I know, yep, that's the same look I made. Other guesses have included that the Ozark Howler might be a wild boar, an eastern woodland bison, a hyena, or a surviving member of the creodont family.
Yep, there's always some weirdo who's like, it's a holdover from the last ice age. And it's like, stop.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad that you were able to explain that with a joke, because I was like, there's a word in this paragraph that I'm not going to be able to pronounce when I explain what a creodont is.
Yeah, it's like,
you did it for me.
Calm down, Mulder.
Yeah. Chad Arment asserts in his book Cryptozoology that the Ozark Howler myth is a hoax. According to him, he and many other cryptozoologists received email messages making claims about the Ozark Howler evidence. However, these messages were tracked down to the University of Arkansas, and a student there that had made a bet that he could fool the cryptozoologist research community.
I love the idea of a bunch of, like, people modern day equivalent of calling cryptozoologists and asking them if they have Prince Albert in a can.
However, stories of the Ozark Howler are said to predate this. Wait, predate what?
I assume the University of Arkansas email incident.
I suppose, yeah. Jason Offutt. Offutt? O-F-F-U-T-T.
Offutt? Sorry, Jason.
Jason is afoot. You think that when he goes hunting for cryptids, he goes, the game is afoot, and everyone's like, come on, man. Anyway, in his new book, Chasing American Monsters, he writes, quote, many people have dismissed the Ozark Howler, but howler sightings stretch back to the early 1800s. Lauren Coleman has also... Who's Lauren Coleman? I did these notes quick. Just delete the Lauren Coleman bit, Marvin. It's fine. The earliest legend of the Ozark Howler is of a meeting between Daniel Boone and the creature in Missouri in the early 1800s.
Huh.
Boone is purported to have fired his gun at the Ozark Howler in some versions of the story, although there's no evidence that the beast was killed and kept as a trophy. Recently, the Ozark Howler was in Newton County, Arkansas in 2011. Most recently, in 2015, he was reported to be seen and photographed by an area resident at Devil's Den State Park.
That's like one of the fearsome critters that I was looking up. I want to say it was the hoop snake. Features in some of like the Pico.
I think you mean the hoo-hoo snake?
Features in some of the stories about like Pico's bill, for example. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes the stories about these creatures would like overlap with human folkloric figures.
Yeah, further supporting the fact that this Ozark Howler goes back further than we think it does. In the 1930s, a local press published a small run of a book of folklore about the creature, and it was called Tales of the Ozark Howler. A decade later, folklorist Vance Randolph referred to him by the name Hoo Hoo in the book Ozark Superstitions. In 1973, the Ozark Howler was reimagined as a multi-dimensional time-traveling creature. If that person was not listening to Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd when they thought of that, I don't even want to live on this fucking planet anymore. That was the same year that album came out. You know that's what happened.
You're doing too much, person who did that.
But that was in a short story written by Timothy Godwin called The Hair of the Black Howler. And let's see. Oh, the Ozark Howler has also inspired regional poets, most notably in K.W. Peary's book Ozark Howler and Ozark Howler Verse by Rufus Gray. And yes, I do have some of this poetry open on my laptop. I'm so glad you asked.
Yes. I didn't dare to hope.
This one is called The Arrival. Through the grime, the grimacing grim grabs gravely, looping longingly at last, late to the launch, over the Atlantic altitudes acidly aloft, old shuck shifts, southward slurring, colonial courtesy claim. What? Why is there so many alliterations?
This is too much alliteration.
Colonial courtesy clamoring, climbing, cutting free, haggard horse hair heightens to a howl through its home. Sharpened shield shuddering, forward the forest furriers, mangling mountain mines, exceeding England's empire with eerie egress. An immigrant of intense immersion, this is hard. Immolating. Native knowledge now nodding. Cheaply the churchyard chases Cherokee children. What? Ancestry assessed our arcs and genetics genocidal tragic trails of tears transgressed my miserable moon of solitary striding she's put her head into her shirt. Sojourn Ozark hours over others, bones bone, beastly blood, human hunted hordes in a world of plagues under the pretense of becoming new. It is a tale of death at our hands and under no claw at all.
Thanks. That's like 40 seconds of my life I can't get back. I'm sorry. That person is having too much fun with the English language, and I love E.E. Cummings. I don't like that.
I mean, I love part of that guy's name. Anyway, so the last cryptid that I want to talk about is the Oklahoma octopus.
All right, this is some alliteration I can get behind because I love the idea of a landlocked state having an octopus.
So before I begin this cryptid, I am afraid of octopus.
I have a healthy respect for octopus. I will not eat them because they are very smart, and one day when they take over the world, I want to be able to tell them that I never ate any. I'm only a little bit kidding.
Well, I'm fucked because I love eating octopus.
And that's why you rightfully fear them. When the octopus revolution comes, Abby's going to be first against the wall.
Listen, if I get murdered by an octopus, what a way to go out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Has the past, year and a half of our lives indicated anything to the effect of being killed by an octopus is an unreasonable thing to expect?
No. They're probably mad about all the fucking plastic in the ocean. So
right? They're coming. I'm telling you.
They're E.E. Cummings. Okay, so... Oh, shit.
Dawn of the Planet of the Octopus.
There are 300 known species of octopus. The smallest is called the octopus wolfie, and it is less than 2.5 inches across and weighs less than the paperclip. It's so tiny.
That reminds me, I have to watch this My Octopus Teacher. Because Netflix kept telling me to watch it. I'm like, this sounds stupid. And then it got an Oscar or something, and I was like, oh.
Dude, that movie is creepy. That octopus predicted sports teams winning. Octopus fucking, what? They came here from a spaceship, and no one can tell me otherwise. Okay, so the largest is the giant Pacific octopus, which it has more than a 15-foot arm span. Why? That's horrifying. Why are you just looking at me like this is fine and not a problem? And it weighs up to 50 pounds. They are known for charismatic personalities, intelligence, and diversity. Octopus have 8 arms with 2 rows of suction cups extending